Do you know flowers cry when you cut them down? And they do this by releasing a smell. So when you cut a flower from the stem, know that the more it smells, the more it's crying. From leaving the place it once knew. It isn't right, it isn't wrong, it's just different from where the flower grew. You were just trying to make a pretty bouquet for you to feel better, weren't you, anyway? Or maybe you wrapped them in a vase for a gift for somebody you knew. What's the first thing they do? They smell them. Those are the tears on the petals you smell in your senses, your olfactory, you see. And how long will they last? How long will you make them feel better after receiving? Because unless you stay in your conscious mind, there's a good chance you could walk by that vase daily and not take one peep at those flowers that were given to you in your life. Oddly enough, usually it's the moments they are dying or turned down and brown when one realizes, oh no, my flowers are dead. However, you never took pride or enjoyed them when they were there and they were alive and they were vibrant and they were meant to make you happy as a gift in your life. But you didn't focus on the happy little flower, did you? You only took notice when the petals began to weep differently from when they were given to you. By then, it's too late. And what did you do? Try to change the water quickly? That looked moldy from the flowers after 3 days. It turned brown and even changed consistency. But you paid attention to the death of the flower, not the life it was intended to live for you. You threw them away after a week. You muttered to yourself, poor flowers, like you cared for them when they were there presently. You cleaned out the vase they were once held in, walked away, and forgot it all the moment you put the vase back in the cupboard. Then what? Months go by and you wish for flowers to be seen? For you to receive them and yet again not appreciate their beauty until the end. Valentine's Day or a special occasion, and you say to oneself, I wish I had a special person to buy flowers for me. That person can be you. You can buy your own flowers if that's what you want to see. Maybe then you'll appreciate them more. Since you purchased them for yourself, you got the type of flower that you enjoy. You bring them home, you trim them and put them in a vase, and then you can appreciate the flowers that you got for yourself that day. You don't need to rely on somebody else to bring you flowers to make you happy. I've heard stories from people who went on first dates and the person bought flowers and they didn't appreciate, they thought they tried too hard. They purchased them as a kind gesture. Yet you claim you want flowers, but now you are being specific as to who they are. This beautiful gesture, maybe appreciate the thought since they went out to purchase them for you, to smell the weep. And flowers are such an interesting thing if you think of as a human. We give flowers for love, flowers after a fight, flowers for the happy times and the sad times. I've given flowers to many of my friends on many random occasions, men and women too, as a sign of endearment. Hey, I appreciate you. I even told my ladies, please don't take this the wrong way. I just saw these and it made me think of you today. Because I love you, friend. And this flower cried and it will die for you. And it's from me, for you. Because they were purchased for you, for you to receive them. So please enjoy the beauty of the flower while it's alive. Don't just show up at the end. When hospice is called, or on the death day of the flower's life, it's not weeping anymore for you. It was weeping the entire time. You just didn't truly pay attention to it when it was given to you. Weddings and funerals, so much time and money spent on flowers for one to say at a funeral, I bought those for the family. Very nice of you. However, were you around and available during their time on Earth School, or just the end of life cycle for these to be placed on the grave for the deceased body not to see? Flowers on your wedding day, and the more they have them, doesn't mean that there's any more love built within this family. They are flowers that will be seen for a day, for your pictures, and then thrown away when no one remembers the flowers except for the bride and her mother maybe. But I've rarely heard anyone say they remember the flowers at someone's wedding day. You could quite possibly spend so much money on flowers it actually takes away. from the two people who are joining their lives in love, which should have been the ultimate focus that day. But the family hyper-focused on the money and the flowers who are weeping, and weeping for a day, not taken home, very often thrown away. And sure, you can play the game, whoever has a penny under the seat gets to take the centerpiece home at the end of the night. By the end, they are often forgotten and left there to die inevitably. Sure, you can put them in a frame, hang them upside down for keeps. Eventually the petals truly crumble, and one gets tired of looking at dead flowers that aren't even smelly. I've seen folks put those dried out flowers on a table with pictures of loved ones who are deceased. Very parallel, dead flowers next to departed people. I hope the flowers and the people were appreciated at the very least, because flowers weep like you and me. And if you aren't there for a person during the hard times, how does one feel good because they showed up for the end of their life to pay respects to a family? To be a good person to somebody, you can't just be there for the good times and then the ending with no in-between in their life. Did you walk by and pay no mind when they looked good and well, with no intent to assume that because they look happy on the outside, but inside they are screaming and maybe even like a flower weep? Someone could be glowing externally. That doesn't mean they are glowing inside. They could have anxiety, worries so much on things about life, and you judge them by the meat suit and maybe even the smile they presented in that moment in time. But really, unless you ask the age-old question with care, how are you? You could think everyone is fine and dandy, but like our birth, flowers have a beginning and end. So ultimately, we're all going in the same direction. Not one thing is getting any younger or gaining more external beauty. Our bodies will fade, just like the flowers they change. They become smaller as they get older, just like you and me. Isn't that interesting to see? How one can be tall in life and shrink as they get older and even hunch their shoulders as we become elderly? Like the flower who is cut down for the beauty for you. It bends and it bends until it reaches a point where it's thrown away and forgotten about from you. Instead of just a flower, consider planting a tree that will grow big and tall, or roses that vine up a trellis for all to see. And do watch out for the thorns, but know that yearly that they will return to grow and share its beauty. Those flowers still smell. From the stems and the vines they grow on, which can be enjoyed freely every day of your life as long as it's sunny outside. Just remember, if you cut them off and put them in a vase, do it with so much intention, because that flower was just clipped from its family and it's weeping, but it's weeping in order for you to enjoy that beauty. From the seed grew this beautiful flower, so please enjoy it and be present during that time that you have with it in your life before it dies right in front of your eyes, and then you're weeping from a flower that you never knew. So take time and take the chances and know that I love you.